Shadows of the Sorcerer, the Haunted Castle's Eternal Curse. 1. The invitation story begins with 6 strangers: Daniel, a history professor; Olivia, a travel vlogger; Marcus, a thrill seeker; Amanda, an aspiring writer; Ethan, a skeptic podcaster; and Charlotte, a wealthy art collector, each receiving an invitation to a mysterious castle in the remote Appalachian Mountains. The invitation promises a unique experience: a weekend in Castel d'Ombre, a medieval fortress rumored to be cursed, with a substantial monetary reward for staying the full 48 hours. Curious and enticed by the reward, they accept. The castle looms large against the foggy horizon as they approach, its towering spires piercing the gray sky. When they arrive, a shadowy butler named Alaric greets them, his face partially obscured by the dim light. Alaric informs them of the rules: no one may leave until the time is up. The front gates lock with an ominous clang behind them, and a chill settles over the group as they step inside. 2. The Living Shadows group is led into the Great Hall, an enormous room adorned with decaying tapestries and faded portraits whose eyes seem to follow their every move. They're given keys to their individual rooms and told to make themselves comfortable. That evening, during dinner, Daniel notices the shadows in the room flickering unnaturally, as if they're alive. Marcus dismisses it as paranoia, but Olivia captures that movement on her camera. Later, as Olivia reviews her footage, she notices one shadow that doesn't belong to any of the group. When she looks up, it's gone. Amanda, exploring her room, finds an old journal beneath the bed. The entries are written in shaky handwriting and describe the castle as a trap, warning readers to avoid the mirrors at all costs. Just as she reads this, her reflection in the antique mirror seems to smile at her, but she's not smiling. 3. The endless corridors. Next morning, the group decides to explore the castle together. They find countless corridors that seem to twist and turn back on themselves. Doors lead to nowhere, hallways stretch longer than they should, and windows show views that don't match the castle's exterior. Ethan, eager to debunk the castle's mysteries, begins marking their path with chalk. However, when they double back, the marks have vanished. The group splits up in frustration to cover more ground. Marcus hears faint whispers guiding him down a narrow staircase, but when he reaches the bottom, the stairs have disappeared. Trapped in a pitch-black dungeon, he sees glowing red eyes in the darkness. 4. The portrait room. Meanwhile, Charlotte stumbles upon a hidden gallery filled with portraits of former residents. As she examines them, she notices something unsettling. One of the paintings depicts Olivia, even though it looks centuries old. Another shows Daniel standing in a library, staring at a book with a blank cover. Suddenly, the faces in the paintings begin to warp, their expressions twisting into screams of agony. Charlotte runs from the room, but the sound of the portrait's muffled cries follows her. 5. The vanishing. Evening. Marcus is still missing, and the group begins to panic. Alaric offers no answers, simply stating, the castle chooses who stays and who leaves. His cryptic words do little to calm their fears. That night, Amanda wakes to the sound of a child's laughter echoing in her room. She follows the sound to find a small door she hadn't noticed before. Crawling through, she enters a nursery filled with cobweb-covered toys and a rocking horse that creaks on its own. She finds a doll that resembles Marcus, down to the clothes he was wearing. As she picks it up, the doll's eyes open, and Marcus's voice whispers, "Help me." 6. The Library of Secrets. Daniel, drawn to the library he saw in the painting, finds it hidden behind a rotating bookshelf. The room is filled with ancient tomes, their titles written in a language he doesn't recognize. One book seems to pulse with a faint red light. Against his better judgment, he opens it and is immediately overcome with visions of the castle's dark past, rituals, sacrifices, and the castle's residents being consumed by shadows. When he snaps out of the vision, the book is gone, and so is the door. The walls close in around him, and he hears a guttural voice whisper, "You're next." 7. The Mirror's Curse. Olivia continues filming, determined to document everything. She notices that whenever she passes a mirror, her reflection lingers just a second too long. Later, she reviews her footage and sees herself walking into a room she doesn't remember entering. She decides to investigate and finds the room from the video, a grand ballroom with shattered chandeliers and a cracked marble floor. In the center of the room is a massive mirror, its surface rippling like water. Her reflection steps out of the mirror and grabs her by the throat, pulling her in. The group finds Olivia's camera lying on the floor, still recording, but there's no sign of her. 8. The sacrificial altar. The remaining group discovers a chapel deep within the castle. At its center is an altar stained with what appears to be blood. Ethan, still skeptical, dismisses it as theatrics until the walls begin to bleed. They find carvings detailing the castle's curse. It was built by a sorcerer who made a pact with the shadows, offering the souls of anyone who entered in exchange for eternal life. Charlotte, horrified, suggests they perform a cleansing ritual she read about in Amanda's journal. Ethan refuses, calling it superstition, but Amanda insists. They try. As they prepare, the shadows gather in the corners of the room, watching silently. 9. The first sacrifice. During the ritual, Ethan is suddenly pulled into the darkness by an unseen force. The group hears his screams echo through the halls, but is unable to reach him. The shadows grow stronger, and Alaric reappears, revealing that he's a servant of the sorcerer, bound to the castle for eternity. He warns them that the castle demands blood and will not let them leave until its hunger is sated. 10. The final hours, with only Daniel, Amanda, and Charlotte remaining. They devise a plan to destroy the altar, believing it to be the source of the curse. As they make their way back to the chapel, the castle begins to collapse around them. Hallways twist, doors vanish, and the shadows close in. At the altar, Daniel sacrifices himself to give Amanda and Charlotte a chance to escape. As the altar shatters, the castle lets out a deafening scream. The shadows dissipate, and the remaining to find themselves outside the castle as the sun rises. 11. The Castle Reborn. Months later, Amanda writes a best-selling book about their experience, while Charlotte uses her wealth to fund research into the castle's history. However, they discover that the castle has reappeared in another part of the world, its curse intact, waiting for new victims. 12. A new invitation. A new group of adventurers receives similar invitations promising wealth and fame. Among them are Clara, a cryptozoologist; Adam, a journalist; Helena, a medium; Nathan, an engineer; and two brothers, Carl and Jake. Unaware of the castle's deadly past, they eagerly accept. 13. Echoes of the past. When the new group arrives, they experience strange occurrences echoing the previous group's encounters. Shadows linger too long, doors lead nowhere, and the castle begins to toy with their sanity. Helena senses a dark presence growing stronger. 14. The tower's curse. Nathan and Jake climb a spiral staircase to investigate a strange light coming from the tallest tower. The stairs stretch infinitely, and the higher they go, the stronger the whispers become. When Jake vanishes, Nathan runs back down but finds himself in a different part of the castle. 15. The Blood Fountain. The group discovers a fountain in the courtyard, its water slowly turning red. Clara realizes it's connected to the castle's victims. They find an inscription, "Only the tainted shall pass." One by one, they test their resolve, but Carl's reflection reveals a twisted version of himself. 16. The Shadow Feast. Alaric reappears, more spectral than before. He explains that the castle is growing hungry again and offers a grim choice: sacrifice one of their own, or all will perish. Tensions rise, and Adam begins to show signs of paranoia, accusing others of betrayal. 17. The Sorcerer's Chamber. Lena leads them to a hidden chamber beneath the castle. They discover remnants of the sorcerer's ritual, blood-stained robes, ancient tomes, and a cracked crystal pulsating with dark energy. The group debates whether destroying the crystal will end the curse. 18. The Mirror's Maze. Searching for a way out, the group becomes trapped in a hall of mirrors. Each reflection shows their worst fears. Clara sees herself consumed by a monstrous creature, while Carl's reflection mocks him. The mirrors shatter, releasing shadowy figures. 19. The final sacrifice. Elena realizes the castle demands a willing sacrifice to break the curse. Clara volunteers, believing her knowledge can help others survive. As she steps into the altar, the castle shakes violently, and the shadows retreat momentarily. 20. A hollow victorite. Survivors escape but carry the curse with them. Shadows linger around Nathan and Adam, while Elena's spirit is seen in the castle's windows, forever trapped. The story ends with another group receiving their invitations. To 1. A new era of horror with reappearance of the castle sparks international intrigue. Paranormal investigators, thrill seekers, and influencers are drawn to its legend. Among the new rivals are Abby, a famous ghost hunter, Trevor, a thrill-seeking YouTuber, and 3 friends. Laura, Gabe, and Mia, eager to livestream their experience. 22. The castle welcomes its prey as the new group steps inside. The castle seems to hum with energy, more alive than before. Abby immediately senses a malevolent presence, while Trevor dismisses the legends as hype. The castle's corridors shift and twist, separating the group. Each person begins experiencing personalized horrors. To 3. The curse deepens. Laura discovers a hidden diary belonging to a child from centuries past. It speaks of the sorcerer's failed experiments to contain the shadows. Meanwhile, Gabe hears whispers promising him escape, only to lead him to a mirror that traps him inside. The groups -1 dwindle as the castle grows stronger. To 4. The clock. Rumia stumbles upon a room filled with broken clocks. One clock, intact, begins ticking backward. As she investigates, she's drawn into a time loop, forced to relive the moment the group entered the castle repeatedly, with small, horrifying changes each time. To 5. The eternal feast. Trevor finds a grand dining hall filled with food that looks fresh but smells rancid. Starving, he begins to eat, only to realize the food is alive. The shadows force him to join a grotesque feast where he becomes the main course. To 6. The spirit chore. Abby uncovers a secret room where spirits sing mournful songs. Their voices tell her of their imprisonment and warn her of the sorcerer's plan to unleash the castle's power onto the outside world. They beg her to find the heart of the shadows and destroy it. 27. The heart of the shadows. Abby and Laura reunite and follow the spirit's guidance to the castle's core. They find a massive, pulsating shadow heart guarded by spectral figures. Destroying it will mean sacrificing themselves, but Abby insists it's the only way to end the curse. To 8. The sorcerers return as they prepare to destroy the heart. The sorcerer himself manifests, a towering figure of pure shadow. He offers them freedom in exchange for allowing the castle to survive. Abby and Laura refuse, leading to a final confrontation. 29. The collapse. In the battle, Abby uses the knowledge from the spirits to sever the sorcerer's connection to the castle. Laura destroys the heart, causing the castle to collapse into itself. The shadows scream as they are dragged back into the void. 30. The survivors. Laura wakes up outside the ruins, alone. The others are gone, and the land where the castle stood is eerily silent. She carries the scars of her experience but vows to ensure no one else suffers the same fate. 31. The curse lives on. As Laura moves on, she notices her own shadow behaving strangely, hinting that while the castle may be gone, its curse endures. The final scene shows a new group receiving invitations, their fates sealed as the cycle begins anew.